Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle comic book review of The Frost Giant's Daughter, the Cimmerian. Now this is issue 3, the final issue, and one of my favourite stories. I always loved The Frost Giant's Daughter. First time I read it, R.E. Howard of course, as well as the Barry Windsor Smith version. And I have to say, well, this is pretty amazing as well. However, before I go into this comic, just want to point out, of course, the French version. You can see the size difference as well. This is quite huge, typical French sort of volume, and you can see the same story, of course. And, well, French one is amazing. This is also pretty amazing as well, of course. So this came out in 2021, and it's like issue 3, volume 1, as it says here. It's weird when it says volume 1, issue 3, first printing. It also has some adverts and various things for other issues at the back. And also a cover gallery as well. So I'm just going to show the cover gallery. And this is from Ablaze. So all various. So if you want to check out their Ablaze website, they've got lots of other books and things. Some that really sound quite interesting. So I'm really looking forward to some of those that come in soon. Friday Foster is one that definitely I'm looking forward to. And the next issue is the Iron Shadows in the Moon. Now again, this was available in France, the French version, which I actually just ordered and receiving today. So I'm looking forward to reading it slightly in advance. But however, I will still be getting the Iron Shadows in the Moon. And also, this one is going to be available in a collected edition, I think sometime April, May, that time, the Cimmerian Volume 2 hardback. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's Robert E. Howard's Savage Hero, Uncensored, and it definitely is that. It's far more, though this issue is far more tame in comparison in terms of sexuality compared with issue 2, which really went quite extreme for most comics. So you've got, apparently the story was first in Fantasy Fan, and of course there has been many different versions of this. There's obviously the Dark Horse version, as well as Marvel's version. There was a black and white version as well as a colour. Obviously the same story, but so what's this one like? Well, it's amazing. I absolutely love it. However, there's a few minor points. I love the cover. The cover is absolutely stunning, and I mean, look at that brilliant cover. Obviously got the good old there, the polar bears there. They're just waiting to attack, though I must admit they look like they're looking at a different direction. They're not really looking at Conan at all. However, that's the only I mean, great's a nice sort of the colour on. Why is that there? Just doesn't seem to make sense. One, it's not in the story in any shape or form, and it just doesn't make any sense. But especially since obviously he's battling and would he have that? He's just been in a battle, so it's unlikely there would be a sort of a fire just going there. Mere quibble that, but it just seems odd when you look at it and think, why is that there? Then you got obviously the artwork, I think, is superb all the way through. Now, the artist, and it's always best to show you the credits. There's all the various credits. And now it's Robin Erect. My apologies if I said his name completely wrong. Unlike the previous issues, there's no R.E. Howard story in the issue. So they always print the actual story as well. But this one doesn't. It's just got adverts at the back. Very dramatic art all the way through. I must admit, absolutely stunning. You've got Conan, obviously, has got a bit of a problem now. He's on the ground, he's injured, all that sort of stuff. He's been quite a conflict. And you've got this absolutely wonderful Frost Giant's daughter standing over him. And, of course, you've got this going Tom, Tom, Tom all the way through. I'm not certain what the French version was. Maybe it was, of course, probably had the same name. Tom, Tom, Tom. Anyway. And he should see, your heart belongs to my father. You can't resist. And you can see him, so obviously, Conan, will he ever go along with what everyone wants? No, not even probably to death. He will obviously fight on. However, of course, he gets up in dramatic fashion. Actually, very similar, I thought, to be honest, to the like Spider-Man, where he sort of pushes the famous one where he shoves everything off the thing. Obviously, not exactly the same, but he's got that sort of pose where he's sort of like, not going to give in at all. Submit, she's screaming. And, well, in this one, if you like a lot of tom-tom, there's tom-tom, whatever tom-tom means, is all the way through, literally covering the actual words of Conan at times. It's like, just covers, obliterates the panels. However, you've still got very dramatic panels. So, I mean, like that. they obviously enjoyed doing the tom-tom bit in this one. I love it. But you see, she gets to realise that things are not going the way she wants it. Of course, again, bit of a spoiler. I mean, you know Conan. Conan wins. I mean, there's not going to be a sort of this is not the last story of Conan, so you can guess. I mean, there's some dramatic colour. I mean, all the way through, and it is really powerful. There's some really dramatic scenes. There's not any sort of this is real explosive. It's not just one lightning bolt. This is raw power all the way through this. I mean, there's some very dramatic artwork. Father, she got real. Again, bit of a spoiler. My apologies, but however, there's obviously been reprinted, done to death. This story has been quite often turned up, so I think it's a fairly familiar story. I'm assuming that you've probably read it, but this one I think is quite a slightly different version, which is really, really good. There's quite a few double-page spreads which work well in comics. I'm always a bit wary about double-page spreads. I love double-page spreads, and nothing wrong with them. However, they never work in collected editions, because what happens is that the binding, they always sort of, it crunches up and it's sort of ruined. This one doesn't have, well, you've got obviously some lovely lightning across the page, which obviously will probably be slightly broken when it comes to the collected edition. However, you've got some, and that's it. I'm not going to say what happens, but I assume that you've probably read the story before in some other, and it doesn't totally go off from the original. However, I think there's some quite powerful things that are done differently than what I've seen before. So it's which is really nice to actually see. And I think this is just an absolutely stunning version of this one. However, I must admit, I would have to say the French version is obviously even better because it's even bigger. I mean, I would love to see them bring out a massive, oversized edition of this. But however, it is great, of course, to read it in, with this one, Tom Tom. I don't think there's a tricky issue there in terms of reading it. But the French is quite easy to read, to be honest. It's not really complicated French. So you can sort of scan it and understand most of it. If there's the odd word, you can always, of course, Google Translate, which I often do. However, you've got some adverts as well, and I still haven't bought this, and I will at some point, Unsacred. So you've got that, Unsacred. And then also a Gung Ho. This is looks quite good as well. It's a possible. I still haven't got that. There's only so many books you can buy and read. So you've got that, and again back to the back. I say you got next issue. You got Iron Shadows in the Moon. I'm looking forward to that one. Looks absolutely dramatic, powerful, and it's always good. I love seeing different interpretations of Conan. It's really, you get one idea of Conan. Obviously, Barry Windsor-Smith's one, John Buscema, etc. But it's nice to see lots of different interpretations of Conan. And I'm going to do another review in a few minutes on another interpretation of Conan, which has been thoroughly enjoyable. So, which is, of course, I've moved away, so I can't show which one it is. However, this one is absolutely superb. So I'm looking forward to the collected edition. I can't remember what it's collected with, but it's going to be two stories in a volume. Really looking forward to that. And, well, this one is superb, thoroughly enjoyable, and totally recommended.